The topic for this video is solving a quadratic. This word right here, quadratic. A quadratic is a polynomial where the biggest exponent is 2. So, in general, if you have a polynomial, in this case, a, b, and c are numbers. So if you have a polynomial, ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0. The way you would solve for x in this case is by using the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Here, a, b, and c are the numbers in front of x squared, in front of x, and the constant. This actually has two answers. One of them is negative b plus the square root divided by 2a. The second answer is negative b minus the square root divided by 2a. Let's do an example. So, let's say that we are asked to solve for x in this particular equation. Okay, well, in this particular equation, we have our equals 0. In order to use our quadratic equation, it should say equal 0 on the other side. Here, our 5 is what a is equal to. Our 14 or positive 14 is the value for b, and our negative 3 is the value for c. So our quadratic equation is right there. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root. Inside the square root, b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. So we're going to substitute our values for a, b, and c into our quadratic equation. One thing I'm going to note is when I substitute a, b, and c in, you should substitute them in a parentheses. So here it says negative b. I'm changing that b for parentheses the value of b, which is positive 14. Change that b to 14, and that is squared minus 4 times a times c. Our value for a is positive 5, which I put in parentheses. Our value for c is negative 3, which once again I'm putting in parentheses. Okay, and on the bottom it is 2 times a, which is 5. So here are two answers. Negative 14 plus all that divided by 2 times 5. Negative 14 minus all that divided by 2 times 5. Let's simplify. Negative parentheses 14 just becomes negative 14. Plus or minus square root 14 squared 14 times 14 is 196. And then negative 4 times 5 times negative 3. Negative times negative is a positive, times another positive is still positive. So this is positive 60. And on the bottom, 10. Okay. So let's simplify our square root. Negative 14 plus or minus square root of 256 divided by 10. And you can simplify the square root of 256. The square root of 256 is 16. So our two answers is x is equal to negative 14 plus 16 divided by 10, or x is equal to negative 14 minus 16 divided by 10. To finish the simplifying, negative 14 minus 16 is negative 30, divided by 3 divided by 10 is negative 3. So one of our answers is x equals negative 3. The top here becomes a 2, positive 2 divided by 10. If you want to write as a fraction, it'd be 1 over 5 or 0.2. Okay. If you have an equation like this, where they're asking you to solve for x, but it is not in the format quadratic equals 0. What you'd have to do is you'd have to move the terms so that one of the sides is equal 0. In this particular case, I'm going to choose to make the right side equal to 0. I shall minus 4 to both sides. To get the right side here equals 0, I'm going to add 10x. Now that you have a quadratic equal to 0, you can use a quadratic formula to finish solving this.